Hey there, it's David Bean. Some of you know me from Facebook, others from real life, and some of you have no idea who I am. So, whoever you are, welcome. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about my story. Those of you who do know me know that I like to talk about my faith sometimes, and so I want to give you a little background into my story, just so you can kind of better understand where I'm coming from. And ultimately, this isn't really about me, but a larger message that I want to share with you. So, here goes. I was born in New Hampshire, and since then, I have lived in 11 different states, 35 different towns and cities, and I went to 6 different high schools. I failed 11th grade because I lived a block away from high school, and so I'd walk to first period, which was guitar, then I'd walk back home and go to sleep. So, back to New Hampshire. My parents divorced when I'm 2, and my mom and I travel all around Boston, moving everywhere. And then at the age of 8, my mom and I, when I'm 8, not her, we end up on a hippie commune in upstate New York. And this is a place where people walk around naked sometimes. They grow pot in the backyard. They do drugs and eat veggie burgers. And so, crazy time, a lot of crazy stories to share about that. But shortly after, or a while after living there, my mom becomes a Christian and realizes that she needs to get out of this place, and so we move down the road to a little house, and she sends me to a Christian summer camp. Now, at this time, I had never heard about God. I didn't know who God was. Never heard the word God, except maybe in a curse word. I was kind of a little 10-year-old atheist, and so I go to this Christian camp, and it's great. They have tetherball and swimming, and I love it. And then one night we all gather together in this room, and there's singing, singing songs. I don't know, Jesus Loved Me or whatever they were singing. And a guy gets up and he just starts sharing the gospel. Jesus died for your sins, and he loves you, and who wants to receive this? And I was like, this sounds really good. So I raised my hand. He comes around, he starts praying for us, and the next thing I know, I don't remember anything else except waking up on the floor, my back on the floor, bawling my eyes out, just tears streaming down my face, having had the most incredible supernatural experience. I was passed out on the floor, like unconscious, for I don't know how long. It could have been like 30 seconds, it could have been 3 minutes, I don't know, but when I woke up, it was like God had come down and shook my hand and said, "Hello, Dave, I'm God." And I was like, "Hello, God, I'm Dave." And just mind-blowing supernatural experience where I met God that day as a 10-year-old kid. So I go back home. I don't know what to do with this information really. No one's really pouring into my life any further. I'm not being discipled, as they call it. That some of you will know what that means. No one's training me. No one's teaching me. And so I have this belief in God, but it kind of just becomes a fond memory. So at this time, now we're living in Watertown, New York. My mom is a house mother to 13 women with mental disabilities. She works for an organization called the ARC. And it's kind of like having 13 sisters. I'm living in this big home with 13 women who are kind of like sisters to me. And we lived there for 3 years, which is longer than I've lived anywhere up to that point. It was always live somewhere for a year, then move, then a year, then move, then 6 months, then move, then 3 months, then move. And so it was very lonely. You'd make a friend, then you'd move, then you'd make a friend, then you'd move, and etc. And so around this time, my mom gets married. She marries a great man named Nate. And up to this point, my mom had been my best friend. She was all I had in the world, and in a way, I was all she had. And so now my best friend has a new best friend, and they have kids, and now my best friend's got a family of her own, a different family, and their last name is Larkin, and my last name is Bean. And so I start to withdraw and become even more lonely. And through no fault of theirs, they tried to always include me in everything, but I just kept withdrawing. And so we moved around quite a bit more, all over the East Coast, and ended up in South Florida to a little town called Lighthouse Point right before I turned 15. And at 15, I went to a church lock-in one night. A lock-in is a thing where you have a church and you lock the doors and you give all the kids popcorn and soda and show them a movie. It's good, clean fun. Well, I met this kid there named Derek, and we just hit it off right away. He was mad at the world and lonely and angry and just he was just a mess. And I just clicked with him instantly because this is just how I felt inside. And so we look at each other and we're like, let's get out of here. So the doors aren't really locked. We walked out. We go to 7-Eleven down the street. And at South Florida in the mid-'80s, anyone could buy liquor. You could be 12 years old and just have a crayon ID and show it to him. So we bought a bottle of Mad Dog 2020, drank the whole thing, got just incredibly drunk, went back to the church, and that became, or that started a friendship with me and Derek that lasted quite a while. And it also started a friendship with me and drugs and alcohol that lasted quite a while as well. I eventually would get into marijuana and cocaine and crack cocaine and LSD. Never did heroin or needles, and I never smoked cigarettes because I was deathly afraid of cigarettes. I was like, that stuff will kill you. So, but yeah, just my life just took a turn for the worse. Up to that point, I had been, this angry, lonely, frustrated kid. Now I was an angry, lonely, frustrated kid who was medicating himself with drugs and alcohol, and shoplifting and stealing cars and just all kinds of insanity. And so I got arrested several times. I was on probation for 2 years for grand auto theft, and my life was just spiraling out of control. It was I was a mess. And the whole time that I'm living like this, God is just tapping me on the shoulder, always, constantly saying, "Hey, Dave, I'm here. I love you. What are you doing? And I love you. Come back to me." And I just felt God pursuing me quite often, and I would make efforts to kind of come closer to Him and try to recapture that relationship with Him, but it just nothing ever seemed to work. I think I felt like there's two things. One is I didn't really want to give up my life. As miserable as I was kind of enjoying my misery. Those of you who have lived lives like that would understand what I'm saying. And the other is I just felt like I had let God down and disappointed Him too much. God, you showed me your love when I was 10 and you were patient with me, and now look what I've done. I've just thrown my life away. I've slapped you in the face. I'm just a terrible person. Why would you want anything to do with me? This probably isn't you. And so God would make efforts to kind of, again, reach down and pull me up, and I just we either blew him off or I would just think I wasn't worthy. And so what a contradictory, frustrating life it is when you know the truth, but you just feel powerless to live it. It's the worst. And so this went on for years. And then April of 1985, I had another pivotal moment in my life. I went to a record store off Oakland Park Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale and bought a 12-inch record from the Dead Kennedys. Police Truck was the B-side that I put on. Up to this point, I had heard about punk rock music, but I'd never heard it. I was into new wave stuff, and so I put this Dead Kennedys record on, and it was like a light bulb went off. It was literally like mind-blowing. I'd never seen slam dancing before, but I was bouncing off the walls, just going crazy in my house, just going nuts. And I was like, this is it. This is what I was made for, like punk rock. Like I found my people, I found my music, I found this, the anger, the aggression, the everything. This is it. And so I was like, I got to seek out the people that are into this. And so 2 weeks later, I'm at a show in Miami Beach, and then every week I'm at the Cameo Theater seeing bands like Black Flag and Descendants, Suicidal Tendencies, Bad Brains, just totally immersed in the South Florida punk and hardcore scene, and it became a god to me. This the religion of punk rock became like my identity and everything that I was about. And finally, skipping ahead, all kinds of more craziness, and then at the age of 21, coming down from an acid trip on the beach with my friend Brian. We had dropped acid earlier in the day, and it was like 2 a.m. now, and we're just kind of getting ready to go to bed. And so we go to his house across the street from the beach, and he crashes in his bedroom, and I lay down on his couch and crash there, and I'm just laying back, and I'm just like, I just said to God, I'm done. Like, I give up. You win. You've been pursuing me. I know you've been there behind me, tapping me on the shoulder, just saying, come back, come back. And I know I've been fighting you. You win. I give up. I surrender. I'm all yours. I'd had it. I tried cleaning myself up. I tried going straight edge. I tried quitting drinking. I tried being good. I tried everything. Nothing worked. I knew the only answer was to surrender, to give in to God and say, God, I know you're good. I know you love me. I'm yours. Take me and do what you want. So I did that when I was 21, and then I went away to a Bible school. Shortly after, I was broke. I had no money, so I get to this apartment, and this is where I start seeing like God just work in incredible ways. I've seen so many things in my life that just could only be God. And so here's just a couple small things, but they were pretty powerful to me as a new believer. I'm in my apartment at this Bible school, and it's off campus, and I have some clothes and some pots and pans, and that's about it. And so I'm like, God, I have nowhere to sleep. I would love a couch, a bed, and a chair. If you could just give me a couch, a bed, and a chair, I'd be so happy. Prayed that. The next day, I'm walking down the parking lot. The landlady's like, hey, this people just moved out, and they left a couch, a bed, and a chair. Do you want it? I was like, yeah. And so got the couch, the bed, and the chair. Thank you, Lord. A little while later, I'm in the bathroom before school one morning, and I'm out of toilet paper. And I'm like, God, I am so poor that I can't even afford toilet paper. And so I go to school that same day. I sit down, and there's a little old lady in my class. She puts a paper grocery bag next to me and says, the Lord told me that you needed this. And I look in there, and it was a couple of cans of tuna fish, something else, and a big old roll of toilet paper. And it was God just like saying to me, I got your back, Dave. I've got you. Now that you're fully mine and you're following me, like, I am not going to ever leave you. I'm not, I never left you even back then. I was with you then, but how much more am I with you now? I am going to be here for you always. And every of your smallest needs to your biggest needs, I've got. And so since that time, and then also at that Bible school, I got a free car. Someone gave me a car. I needed a car. God just did miracle after miracle. But since then, I've been to Thailand and Philippines and Lebanon and Turkey, Colombia and Brazil, all on God trips, And I've seen God heal a deaf girl, heal blind eyes, heal a brain tumor. I've seen God visit people in their dreams and visions and change their lives. I've just seen people radically saved and delivered from incredible things. I've seen too much to ever turn my back on God. And so that's why it just makes me so sad when I see people these days kind of giving up the faith. And there's these two unhealthy extremes now with people's opinions about God. On the one hand, there's this picture of God as an angry, horrible, just monster that just hates people and wants you to hate people as well. And then on the other extreme, there's this hippie grandfather God, who's smoking a pipe and going, hey, I don't care what you do, I don't care how you live your life, as long as you're cool to people, just be cool to people. And both of those are just such unhealthy extremes. God is neither of those. God is a multifaceted, complex creature that is loving and generous and beautiful and forgiving, but he's also holy and just and righteous. He's all of those things and more. And so some people just don't get the whole picture, and will never get the whole picture unless we encounter God in a spiritual way. And so I encourage everyone to seek the Lord, seek him and find out for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Don't take someone else's word for it. Dig into his word and just pray. And before you put your head on your pillow tonight, just ask God, Lord, if you're there, maybe you don't even believe in him, God, if you're there, just make yourself known to me. I want to know who you are, and he will. And if there's one character about God that I think is my favorite, it's that he is a forgiving God. He forgave me for so much, and still does. I'm not perfect now by any means, but he loves to lavish his heart of forgiveness on people. In our culture today, it's really sad when we see, whether they're a celebrity or someone else, someone makes a mistake and people just love to rub it in their faces and look at you, you loser, you did that stupid thing, or people just love putting other people down. God's not like that. God is not someone that likes to rub our noses in things and say, what a loser. God is someone who says, hey, I know you've blown it. I want to forgive you. I want to pick you up and let's try again. Let's do something new. I want to give you a new life. And so that's who God is. That's the God that I know. That's the God of the Bible. And so that's kind of my story in a nutshell, very condensed version. I would love to talk to anyone who has questions about this kind of stuff. I love talking about God. I'll take you to lunch. I'll buy you coffee. If you have any questions, I would love to do that. I'm serious. I'm not just saying that. I will literally, if you want to talk about this kind of stuff, I'll buy you lunch. We'll sit down and we'll chat. So, thanks for watching. I appreciate the time, and God bless you.